right, getting there. So we're going to finish this up, and basically what we want to do is we want to actually do a couple edits. So I found that this needs to actually be S because we want an array of movies, not just a singular movie, to be returned back to us. And then let's go ahead and verify that first. So I'll save this. And so I'll come over here and type in star, and I should see down here. Okay, yeah, now I'm getting an array under the search property. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I want to change this from being a regular console log to a function. And so I'm going to make that arrow point to brackets, and this will be my function body. And then what I want to do is I want to just say if data.search, because we may not always get back an array, right? Sometimes we may actually get back null data. So we want to prepare for that. And in these kind of cases, you may have to play around with a lot of try-catch statements or if statements. So this is just like a very basic way of doing it. But yeah, we want to make sure that we have the data search available. And then what we want to do is just want to console log again one more time just to see what we have coming back. So data search one more time. And now you can see that I am getting back arrays. Okay, so cool. And now what we need to do is we will add the debound statement from Lodash eventually, very soon. But what I want to do is I want to re-render everything. Like now that we're getting data, we want to re-render the components so that they show the new things. Otherwise, what is the point of React, right? We want to show what React can do. And this is kind of like the cool thing that React can do is re-render all of these different components. Otherwise, you'd have to use jQuery sort of manually to do all that. So let's try this out. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make a few other edits. We want to make sure that when we call handle term from here, we're always getting the state and the class along with it. Otherwise, if we pass in this state over here and fetch tries to run this, it may not know, hey, I don't have a set state method. So what we'll need to do is bind the handle term to the class itself, so that way this value of this is always preserved even down in the arrow functions. So over here, I'm just doing this, and then basically now if I call this dot set state, and this is a special method from React that allows me to set the state. You shouldn't set the state directly by doing this dot state dot movies equals something, because if you do that, you're mutating the state, and that's a bad practice according to React. You never want to mutate the state directly, because then you lose the history of whatever you did as far as changes, and you can never get it back. So rather than doing it that way, they encourage you to use the method this.setState and basically update whatever the object property is that you're trying to update with a new object. So we're going to do that here, and we're going to say we want to update this movies property, and we want to pass in the data.search, which is the array. And I'll go ahead and update that here. And then basically if I come over and check out my app, I should see stuff updating, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's re-rendering all the movies underneath the hood. That's really, really nice. So at this point, you really do have an application quite like the one I showed you at the beginning. If there are any errors, go back and check and make sure that you're not having any weird things happening underneath the hood. You may also want to check movie listings just in case, and just see, like, do you have all of this correctly doing what it's supposed to do underneath the hood. Remember, every time the state changes, we want to map the new movies and create new movie listing items. And then those movie listing items will pull in the data from their props and re-render over here. And that's kind of how you do it. Okay, so we're almost there. So next, we're going to finish up this application by just adding the debound statement, and then you should be good to go. So I'll see you in the next video.